All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
I love when people in the chat ask me the exact same thing my crew asks me. They're like, hey, did you get your 20 air squats or 10 air squats in before the show? 20 before the show, 10 every hour after that. It was leg day today, too, so my legs were a little sore. Gosh, if there was a day I really wanted to be with you, it was yesterday. I really tried. The logistics were really difficult. Here's the problem and the reason we had to take off yesterday. Obviously, I was at the UFC. I think it was the worst kept secret. I just, I don't know, man. I just didn't want to, because I just feel like I've been blessed with so much stuff and I don't really feel entitled to any of this stuff. I really don't. I really am just a kid from Queens, and a lot of great stuff happened, and I'm not going to attribute it all to, grit or whatever. Some of it may have just been some luck here or there. I don't know. Maybe you make your own luck. Who the hell knows? But I didn't want to talk about it too much. Now that, everybody knows I was there, I feel like we should discuss what happened at the UFC because, man, I'm going to give you the inside baseball on that. But the logistics made it impossible. I thought about doing even some phone videos or something. And then I thought, you know what? I'll just save it for the Tuesday show. So I got that big, huge terror plot broken up. So that's a big story. Just happened this morning. I did some Fox and Friends last minute. I was doing show prep. Fox and Friends said, hey, can you jump on the phone? I'm going to go into that. Foreigners loving America, the SpaceX IPO, a ton of stuff to get to, so please don't go anywhere. My apologies for yesterday. I promise I tried to make it work out, but it was a live show, and I just don't like taping them in advance. I just don't like doing it. I just want to be with you live. I love the chat. So it was epic, says MAGA Pound Cake. Thank you, MAGA Pound Cake. Today's show brought to you by Omaha Steaks. This Father's Day, treat dad to world famous and delicious Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com. for an extra $35 off with promo code Bongino at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. We love Omaha Steaks. They're delicious. Today's show also brought to you by My Patriot Supply. Prepare today for an emergency. Don't wait for the emergency, because if you're sitting there and the kids are like, hey, Dad, do we have any food? No, we're out of food. We didn't prepare. Is not the answer. The world gets crazier every day. Every time you check the news, there's a crisis breaking out, conflict or catastrophe. You can't control what happens out there, but you can control how you prepare for emergencies. You can make sure that no matter what happens, you are prepared. You have the basics covered in case one of those disasters, God forbid, reaches your doorstep. Things like having enough food to eat when the shelves are empty. And when it comes to my family's food security, I have been using My Patriot Supply forever. Food security is everything. No food, you get dead quick, and you don't want to get dead, okay? They've helped millions of Americans get prepared. They have over 90,000 five-star reviews. I've been using them forever. Right now, get their best-selling 3-month emergency food supply for $100 off. Get one for every member of your family. 3 months you'll have. My Patriot Supply almost never offers a deal like this. To get your emergency food supply, go to preparewithdan.com. That's preparewithdan.com. Food kit gives you 2,000 calories a day, lasts up to 25 years. And best of all, it's $100 off for limited time. So go to preparewithdan.com. Get yours right now. That's preparewithdan.com. Once again, preparewithdan.com. Do it today. All right, fellas, let's go. So I am going to get to the UFC thing because the news shouldn't have been the news. The thing that happened with Hokit, a TMZ guy interviewed me on the way out. He saw me on the way in, too, and interviewed me. That part they left out. I don't know why. Maybe the part on the way in wasn't that interesting. So I think his name was Charlie. Charlie, throw that out there, too. I didn't know he was from TMZ. A nice guy, by the way. He wasn't really rude or anything like that. But very serious story this morning. I'm getting ready to bounce over here. I had just gotten out of my gym there, a little leg day action, whatever. I had to get in early because I had a bunch of show preparation stuff to do because we were off yesterday. And story breaks. The FBI thwarted a massive attempted terror strike against the UFC 250 Freedom event I was just talking about, involving, yes, my worst fear, which I've been talking about forever, drones. Drones. Audience archivist Judy sent me an email the other day. She's like, look, this is you talking about drones on SoundCloud. What was it, 10 years ago or something like that? This is a huge problem. I'm going to simplify the drone problem for you. You don't need to have an encyclopedic knowledge of counterterrorism or counterintelligence or anything. They're saying human beings can't fly. That's why drones are a problem. They're really hard to interdict. because you have to find another way to get there because you can't go hands-on because we don't fly. Now, that assumes we're talking about airborne drones. I should be clear because there are, drone robots that are on the ground. There are undersea and underwater drones as well. But we're talking about aerial drones. They're a huge problem. Everything we do to stop the problem, too, we'll interrupt the radio frequency to communicate with the drones. What happens with the bad guys? They go, well, we're going to connect it by a fiber optic line. And then you find out a way to clip the fiber optic line. They go, well, we're just going to use the cell towers. The problem is the technology cycle. I brought it up on Fox this morning. However, here's a quick report in case you're just tuning in from Fox News this morning about a massive attempted terror strike involving drones and secondary wave attacks, another fear of mine. Here's what Fox covered this morning right before we came in on the show, did an interview about it. This is Todd talking about it now. Check this out.
The FBI disrupting this alleged plot targeting the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. Officials telling Fox a network of nearly 24 potential plotters were identified, with at least 5 people in custody right now. The suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia to make final preparations for the attack. And the alleged plan allegedly included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation, and then steering crowds, get this, toward a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat on June 10th and worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. FBI Director Kash Patel saying, quote, "We are built to detect, respond to, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens, particularly during large gatherings like the historic UFC 250 fight." That's exactly what we did here. Over 4,300 people were in attendance for UFC 250, which included 1,200 service members. Luckily, nobody was harmed during the FBI's takedown. The event went off without a hitch.
Now, folks, I never take off my security hat, law enforcement hat. I've been in it for so long between Secret Service and the FBI. It's hard for me to do that. I was at the event. Hat tip, the Secret Service did an amazing job. The security there was top notch. I was watching a lot of things. Folks, I really don't want to speak too much about things I noticed for obvious reasons. However, whereas in the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I had addressed multiple times how the Secret Service needs more personnel to expand the outer perimeter. Because imagine an outer perimeter like they had at the White House. Like you couldn't even get into the White House grounds because they had 7 foot, 8 foot high fencing outside. You couldn't even that's not on the ground. That's outside of the grounds. You couldn't even get near the grounds unless you went through that fencing. Let's call that the outermost perimeter before somebody stops you and says, "Sir, ma'am, do you have a ticket for the event?" Well, the problem you have when you see with an attack like this is, say the drone plan worked and everybody floods out of that outer perimeter into the street to get away from a drone attack. Right outside that perimeter, there's nobody stopping you from basically secreting a explosive or a firearm and then saying, going boom or shooting people as they flee the event outside of that exit choke point. After the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I think they've made a number of significant changes. I think they've really, added to that. There are elements there you don't see outside of the perimeter that I think are pushing the outer perimeter. So even though you're not contacted directly, does this make sense? By someone saying, "Sir, ma'am, do you have a ticket to access the event?" If you're acting in a furtive or suspicious manner, you're probably going to get confronted by someone outside. A lot of things I noticed, and I think they did an amazing job, and really big hat tip to the Bureau CTD, the Counterterror Division, that took this plot down, because it would have been an international global disaster. Obviously, if this attack would have been successful. So a couple of things. Folks, I've warned you repeatedly that in this new era of information exchange via encrypted apps, there are terrorists out there who have some of the same military-grade encryption comms capabilities as the most sophisticated intelligence operatives around the country. These apps are for real. They work. There are very few ways in and around them. It's just easy for them to communicate. We now live in an information warfare era. I call it the Bourbon Street problem that happened at, the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, where the guy turns right on Bourbon Street, mows down all these people. What's the way to stop that? You're not going to ban cars, just like you're not going to ban drones. You can't ban drones. There's too many commercial applications, just like there's commercial applications for motor vehicles. You can't ban cars because it was a terror strike and somebody mowed people down. The only way to stop these things is information warfare in advance. You may say, well, that's always the case, Dan. Folks, it is obviously a component of any interdiction on a terror strike. However, trying to get a hold of a nuclear device or nuclear material is really hard. Hear me out. It's going to set off 1,000 tripwires, maybe more. Even trying to obtain commercial explosives that are available for construction jobs and stuff in large amounts without a documented history of doing it, you're going to set off a bunch of tripwires. That's not the case with buying a car. Unless you do something really suspicious, buying a car or a drone, you're just going to buy it. No one's going to say anything. So you have to be involved in information warfare early. What do I mean by information warfare? You have to balance civil liberties. We don't want the FBI monitoring every chat room in the country. That's not freedom and liberty. That's not a republic. That's a totalitarian surveillance state. So that's out. You have to develop really unbelievable sources. Those sources have to be in places, and you have to focus the FBI away from political targeting, which I felt their CTD was oriented for early. It wasn't the guy's fault, by the way. It was the management's fault. And back towards real groups like Islamo-fanatics and people out there who want to engage in this demagoguery due to collective guilt. Anytime you hear things like this that popped up in the report early, oh, they were targeting millionaires and billionaires and people got money from AIPAC. Folks, this is a huge problem. The collective guilt demagoguery and the political heated rhetoric is out of control. Absolutely out of control. And I'm glad that information warfare component that we're engaged in now in this new FBI, it's not focused on political bullshit, but is focused on actual targeting of bad guys. And there are ways we can do that without infiltrating into every single group in America who's doing nothing wrong, which you never want. I'm telling you, be pretty confident we've got a pretty good plan for that. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good one. We have, a lot of online people out there who are, know what they're doing and know how to balance civil liberties versus the interdiction of terror strikes. We've seen this now multiple times. One of the last ops I was involved in was the interdiction of that Turtle Island Liberation Front. They were planning a similar style attack. That went down just like this went down quick. Supposedly it's just a few days old, this plot. That's the way in the information warfare environment we live in, it happens. Boom, we get a tip, the FBI tip line. The thing about having a global organization is you can action that quick. So hat tip United States Secret Service, hat tip the FBI, really good job. We're glad the event went off safely. I was at the event, so not just professionally speaking, but personally speaking, I was there with Paula. I was there with Chris from Rumble, and it was a really amazing time. So let me get to that. We'll talk more about this. I think I'm doing Hannity tonight, a Sean Hannity show about this as well. So a couple more details will come out by then, hopefully, about this case. So I was at the event. What is this? I don't know what these guys are doing. Oh! The weekend of these guys just randomly make up new bits and elements and don't even tell me. I thought some breaking news show just broke into my show. Breaking news on the Dan Bongino show that was not Dan Bongino. I thought that was GB News or something. It looked like one of their liners. So this is probably one of the best weekend updates I'll do in a long time. So Paul and I got an invite to go to UFC for USA 250 up on the White House grounds. Of course, it was an instant. Yes, it was part of history. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it was absolutely magical. It's a shame, the Hokit thing, the liberals made a big deal out of it. I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you're expecting me, just so everybody's ready, because I'm going to show you a TMZ clip. There's TMZ guy, Charlie something, interviewed me on the way. Again, very nice guy. Wasn't rude at all. He was actually pretty funny. The banter went on a lot longer than the video. They edited it down for time, but not for content. It's accurate what I said and all. I don't want to imply anything. But it was a longer interview. You actually interviewed me on the way in too, and I guess I was just boring on the way in. So I didn't put that out. And it's funny, I didn't know the guy was from TMZ at all. I just thought he was some random cat on the street who wanted to talk to me. Paul's like, you think he knew who you were? I'm like, I don't have any idea. I had no idea who he was. He didn't say he was from TMZ. But they were asking about the Hokett thing. So here's what happened. Josh Hokett is a fighter. Now, I want to preface this by saying, if you don't follow the UFC, I do. I love the fights. It's my thing. I really enjoy it. I go to UFCs all the time. They're always really nice and accommodating for us. Josh Hokett is known for saying like the most inflammatory things post-fight. He does these like post-fight type stand-up bits. So this is not new. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the left-wing media who are, soft and like to watch Parcheesi games rather than UFC, were not aware of that. And when Hokett said this, we were all sitting there. I want to set up the scene. He wins this fight against a much larger guy. Really kind of dominates most of the fight. I was surprised. I thought it'd be a little more evenly matched because Hokett was a lot smaller. And everybody's waiting because they know Hokett always does this shtick. And I guess, yeah, look, this is good beer. Like, here's him with some of his shticks and stuff. Like, this is what he does. But the folks around there, some of them were fight fans, some of them were not. We're like, is he going to say something outrageous? Because it is the White House and all. So everybody was kind of waiting with bated breath. And then this happened at the UFC. Check this out.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Hokett.
Dude, can you run that on like quiet B-roll for a second next to me? I want you to pay attention not to Hokett for a second, but to Joe Rogan. Look at Joe Rogan's face. Forget about Hokett for before this happens. Look at Rogan's face, right? And look at him holding on to that one. You never let go of your mic with Joe Rogan, so he's a pro. But look at his face. He knows it's coming. Look at his face. Joe Rogan, who has been to, I think, every UFC fight ever in the history of UFC. The guy has an encyclopedic knowledge of UFC. He's a fighter himself, by the way. I think he's a black belt in like multiple different, he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under the Eddie Bravo system. Look at his face. He knows it's coming. Everybody in there who knows UFC fights, it's like, it's the White House stuff. So listen, was the White House the venue for this? No. Okay, it wasn't. Let's just say it wasn't. However, these people out there, losing their minds over it on the left, asking for mass condemnations. I ask you this. Okay, we're live here, so I'm asking you. I was there, and I'll show you the TMZ interview in a second. It's very short. Because this became everything I say now is like a huge news story. I don't know what it is. I'm really not that interesting, folks, okay? I don't know why anybody cares what I have to say about anything. I'm glad you do. However, it's just so bizarre. Bill Clinton got a in the White House. Joe Biden had a LGBTQIA 2+A1 XYZ spirit event, and there was like fake boob flashing going on. So, I mean, yes, the White House is sacred. I just said to you, like, was the White House the venue for this? No. Okay, good. Got it, good. Okay, fine. I love the White House. I love what it stands for. But the leftists with the faux outrage, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, give me my nitro pills. I can't believe they disgraced the White House. What are you talking about? Like, you're so full of shit. It's like you guys are like a full diaper. You're running a guy in Maine right now with a Nazi tattoo on his chest who's talking about activities that involve self-gratification. How do we describe this, Jess? In a porta potty. And you're like, but I'm really offended by Hokett making a joke about Michelle Obama being. You're not offended. You're full of shit. That's my point. Like, you're not really offended. If you were genuinely offended and you weren't into like this national pastime of calling us all Nazis and fascists and oligarchs and racists every single day, I would say, you know what, guys? You have the moral high ground here. I get it. You don't. Bill Clinton going in the White House. You got the boobie flashing going on, Nazis, Nazi tattoo. I'm doing this thing with myself in the porta potty thing. Listen, you got a woman running in Texas who ran for Congress, wants to put Israel supporters in what, death camps or something. I'm sorry. Like, if you're expecting Dan to get upset doing the Bob Dole, talking about himself in third person, I'm going to say that's a hard pass. I don't give a shit what you say, okay, at all. So here's what happened with TMZ. So a little bit of setup here. I'm walking out, and I had seen this guy before the event, and he had asked me some questions about the event. Again, I guess it wasn't that exciting, didn't make it on the air. Catches me coming out. I don't know at all. He's from TMZ. Matter of fact, I don't know this guy one bit. And he asks me, how was the fight? I give him an answer. And then he asked me about the Hokit thing, and this was all over the place yesterday. Check this out.
It was everything you hoped for?
It was pretty great, yeah. A lot of excitement. Yeah, it was a good time, man. I like the fights anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple quick knockouts. The last fight was pretty good. So, yeah, good stuff.
I got to ask, what do you think of Josh Hokit saying Michelle Obama is a man?
I think it was probably the most unexpected and unintentionally hilarious moment of the night. The whole place kind of erupted. So I think you see online, like that kind of blew up.
It was kind of weird though, because, it's celebrating America event, and then, she's part of American history.
Listen, you got to smile a little bit. It's funny. Just joke around. He's Hokit. It's Hokit. You're not reading the Declaration of Independence. It's Hokit. He wasn't up there in the Emancipation Proclamation. He wasn't reading the Declaration of Independence. It's Hokit. Stop with the bullshit. Leftists, you have no moral high ground, okay? Acknowledged, and I agree. It's the White House. There should be I even put a jacket on. It was supposed to be all the, the Weather Channel, everyone else freaking out. It's going to be 42,000 degrees. Everyone's going to die of malaria and heat exhaustion. It was like 70 degrees at night. I put a jacket on. You didn't see it there, but Paula, this is because Paula was wearing it. You actually can see the jacket. You see Paula? Paula, by the way, is so used to this. Paula's like not fazed by anything anymore. People do this all the time. Paula's like, yeah, whatever. She doesn't care about anything. She had my jacket. I put a jacket. That is my jacket that she has on. But this proves my point. It was actually like at night, I don't want to say like it wasn't chilly, but with the breeze, like if you don't like cold weather, it was very comfortable to be there. So I'm just not going to get upset about it. And this was like a big thing. The Daily Mail, Dan Bongino said it was hilarious. I meant like unintentionally hilarious. And it was just kind of, I don't know what I actually meant by that. I got to tell you, it's like the first time I gave an interview. I think what I was trying to get at is given the I should have said like unexpectedly hilarious. I mentioned unexpected. I said unintentionally, but it was late. I was tired and I wasn't really in interview mood, as you could probably tell. But it was just unexpected and no one really knew what to do. The people next to me were sitting there. They were pretty much a MAGA crowd too. But even they were like, wow, did he just say Michelle Obama's a man? So whatever. Justin said he burst out on his couch laughing. I'm not going to get upset about it. So that's it. So about the event, I want to just give you kind of paint the scene what was there. The Marine Corps band that was there was just amazing. So they asked me this morning, the crew, like, Dan, was it as good as it looked on TV? The answer is no, it was better. The vibe there was out of control. The minute you walked in, I think even the most hardcore people who've been around this stuff their whole lives, because I was there, the Fox crew was there, Harris Faulkner, Will Kane, Rachel, Lisa Booth, Martha McCallum. These are people who are around this. I saw Rick Grinnell there. They've been to the White House 1,000 times, right? Everybody walked in because I was watching. Where I was seated, I could see people coming in. Everybody had the exact same look on, like, holy Moses, this is really cool. I can't believe I'm here. I've been on the South Grounds, I don't know, 1,000 times between the 5 years I was working there. And it was really a magical moment. The Marine Corps band just blew it up. The music, I'm going to tell you something. The music sounded fake. And I mean that as a compliment. It sounded like something that had been put through synthesizers and compressors. It was live and real, and it was so incredible. Marine Corps band, they were amazing. You see this, man? This walkout, like, was just insane, crazy. The energy there, by the way, with the Marines too. The way that Dana White, the UFC and the White House did it was incredible. They wanted it to have a fight feel to it and not a political event feel to it. So they invited about, 1,500 men and women from the Marine Corps, Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. And anyone who was there will attest to this. If you know someone else, ask them this. They were the energy. I had the distinct pleasure of sitting, Justin right there, the other jet, the fighter, sitting there in the Oval, like just insane. The vibe was crazy. The Marines I was sitting in front of right there, they were right behind us, brought all the energy to the event. They were screaming the whole night. All that stuff you heard on TV, that was the military guys just bringing the heat. So thank you to the United States Marines. I had a couple more notes. Some of the special moments, the sugar when he did the salute, folks, that was even cooler up front and personal because the fight wasn't over. The ref, was it Beltran who reffed that one? I love Beltran. They hadn't even called the fight yet. And Sugar Sean's like this. I can't even salute because my arms don't work anymore. But you get the point. I know it's supposed to be closer to it was the most amazing thing. Everybody's like, the fight's not even over. He's popping a salute. It was so awesome. This place went freaking bananas. It was so cool to be there. I have all these notes. I didn't even know. Okay. Yeah. And then, folks, the flyover. Man, I've seen 50, 60 flyover, probably more. I lived in Severna Park, Maryland, right near Annapolis, where the Blue Angels would come by all the time. I've been to air shows down here in Stewart. Folks, that flyover, man, I'm telling you, like everybody looked up. And usually with a flyover, people look down. There, you look up, you look down. That's not what happened. Like people looking up, the Sugar salute, man. It was just, that was so great. They ain't even called the fight yet. People could not, they were trying to like follow over the White House, to watch them over the White House was incredible. I got this unbelievable picture too. You know what? Can I send this to you guys? Hold on. I'll put this on. Chris, oh yeah, put the flyover on while I'm getting this. Sorry, folks, it's a live show. Here, can you guys put this up on the air? This is why you do a live show and you don't tape anything. I refuse. This was the best picture. Look at this flyover. Come on. Do you know what that? Look at this. Look at this goosebumps. Can you see that? Goosebumps. And it was even crazier being there. That flyover was magic. And in the background, the whole time of basically every picture everybody took was either the Washington Monument or the White House. I took this picture with Chris from Rumble. I don't know if it's a selfie or someone took it, but it was me, Paula, Chris, and Chris's girlfriend, who I don't want to bring because I don't know, she's a public figure. But you just showed a picture if you can. It's an amazing picture. The White House is right there, all lit up in the back. It's right there, right by. This is like everybody's. I don't know who these two guys in the back are, but this. It was the coolest event I've ever seen. I ran into so many awesome people. The Medal of Honor winners were there. I met Dakota Meyer, who's like, man, my hero, man. I love this guy. If you ever, the Medal of Honor, and he's alive. The Medal of Honor, you know, hardest to win the Medal of Honor and live through the heroics. These guys, you got to read their stories. They were all there. Oh, just an amazing event. You know, Zach Brown was running around taking pictures with everybody. Roman Reigns and Triple H were there from the WWE. Must have taken like 200 pictures with Marines. They were all lined up. It was just a really great event. So I want to bring it up. I have a few other things I want to bring up too about it. Let me just take a quick break. I want to talk about post-fight. Dana White did a press conference. Folks, there was definitely an organized, I don't mean organized in like a, like there was some like big sinister group doing it. But there was definitely kind of an organized effort amongst Trump haters in the media to paint an apocalyptic picture of this event. Going to be 100 degrees. Everybody's going to need IVs. The mosquitoes are going to eat everything. It's going to be torrential downpour. None of that happened. I didn't get bit by any bugs ever, either did anyone else I know. I don't know what they did. Sprayed the grounds or whatever. Dakota Meyer, there he is. Man, great picture. Good job, guys. And then an iconic other shot there. I'm sorry if I'm all over. I'm just really excited. I'm usually not like this with the show. I'm usually a little bit, Andy said to me this morning, "Are you okay?" I'm like, no, I'm just really excited to be here today. So my apologies. Let me just slow down. Let me take a break. Now we'll get back into some other stuff. Dana White did an amazing job. The production was tier 1, first class, like I've never seen before. Hat tip UFC, hat tip Trump White House for pulling this off. Bon Charge is a holistic wellness brand I love, dedicated to helping you perform at your best. Life hacks, folks. Stay alive. Stay alive as long as you can. Stay alive and healthy. Through science-backed tools inspired by nature, they combine ancestral principles with modern innovation. The result? Smarter solutions to help improve sleep, help with energy and recovery, and overall balance. I love their products. It's my one-stop shop for life hacks. You've heard me talk about Paula's love for the red light face mask. But one of the best new products I've been using just religiously for a while now is Bon Charge's infrared sauna blanket. Benefits of sauna are incredible. The Bon Charge infrared sauna blanket is a total game changer. Heats up really fast, takes under a minute to set up. You can de-stress after a long day with a 30-minute session while watching TV. Put a pillow behind your head and just relax. Get a good sweat going. It is so amazing for your body. Helps me with my arthritis, clear head, everything. Can help elevate your heart rate like a light workout. That's another benefit. Ignites a deep sweat and leaves you feeling calm and recharged. I absolutely love it. Bon Charge ships worldwide, offers free shipping and a 12-month warranty and HSA, FSA eligibility. Go to boncharge.com, BONCHARGE. Use code Bongino and save 15%. Do it today. Look up the benefits of sauna. Get their sauna blanket. That's boncharge.com. Boncharge.com. Use code Bongino to save 15%. Check it out. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA and not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. Great product. Check it out. Today's show also brought to you by American Financing. Listen, there's always going to be an amount of uncertainty in the economy. You want to be able to balance out your anxiety and take care of these things. Don't fall prey to an economic emergency. American Financing is helping families find a way out of this high-interest trap. We're headed into summer, but the economic clouds aren't clearing for a lot of middle-class families. Between persistent inflation and the cost of daily life, you're likely feeling the pressure. You've worked hard for your home and you probably have more equity than you realize. Yet the summer surge is forcing many to rely on credit cards. You don't want to do that. It's an exhausting cycle. But American Financing understands that 2026 requires a real strategy, and they're here to give it to you. That's why they have salary-based mortgage consultants with mortgage rates in the 5s. Their customers are saving an average of $800 a month by wiping out high-interest debt. That's money that stays in your pocket to fight back against rising costs. There's no upfront fees. There's no pressure. And if you start today, you could delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today. Here's the number. 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Or visit them online at americanfinancing.net/Bongino. That's americanfinancing.net/Bongino. Thanks, American Financing. So here was Dana White. Dana did an amazing job. Dana was talking about all of the pre-fight hysterics about the mosquito apocalypse. The stage was going to blow away. It was going to be like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. There was going to be a tornado. All of it was bullshit. I'm telling you, the weather was absolutely picturesque. And like it was like a freaking miracle. Chris from Rumble was showing me this. He does a lot of boating, so he has a weather app. They had this big storm cloud. So here's this thing we have for spots, right? Here's DC. It's actually shaped like a little bit of a square too. These clouds roaming in like this. I kid you not. The cloud splits and like goes over DC and not a drop of rain in the sky. It was it was like a miracle. Check this out.
Couldn't have had a better night. It was absolutely perfect. I'll let Paramount make their own announcement, but it was monstrous tonight. Yeah. Monstrous. Like he's, you don't get calls from billionaires flipping out too often. So he is extremely excited. I'll let them do their thing. They're over the last 2 days. There was something like almost 200,000 people over at the Ellipse, and the list just goes on and on. I mean, just every way that you. And then tonight the weather ended up. I thought the weather was perfect last night. The weather was actually better tonight. So we're sweating the storm all day. The beautiful all day, and then it's looking like from 6 to 9 there's going to be a storm. And this is fucking crazy, but the storm literally went like this and split and went around the White House. And the breeze was perfect. I mean, just everything. You couldn't have had a better night. It was absolutely perfect. Just enough wind to keep the bugs off us. I mean, all the shit that I was worried about played out perfectly. Production was off the charts. I mean, if you look at what We built an arena on the White House lawn. That was amazing. But if you look at what we did at the Ellipse, it's almost more impressive than what we did on the South Lawn.
Folks, he's not kidding. If you have a way, I don't have a weather, I should have a weather app on my phone, but I don't. If you have a weather app on your phone for pilots or something like that, if you can retroactively go back, I'm sure you can. He is not kidding. Chris showed it to me on his phone from Rumble. This big storm cloud is headed for a beeline. I know because we were across the street at Hotel Washington. We were at this little lounge just hanging out because we thought, no, let's not go over too early. And Chris was like, oh man, look at this big storm cloud coming in. This could be really bad. He shows me 15 minutes later. I swear to you, because you're never going to believe this. Look at it now. The thing split in half and just completely avoided DC, but left behind this beautiful breeze, dropped the temperature about 15 degrees, and the breeze kept all the bugs out. Even if you looked up in the lighting, there was hardly a bug up there anywhere. Incredible event. Of course, the Democrats who still haven't learned the lesson I have told them. Is this the actual thing? Look at that. Look, that's it. There it is, splitting. Everything's avoiding. It's like there was a shield over DC, like a from heaven cloud shield that was around Washington. Nothing went over Washington. It went everywhere else. It went everywhere. I know because the next day I was flying out and they called us and they said, hey, man, listen, we may have a problem with the weather. It's been bad everywhere but DC. I'm not messing with it. I thought I was going to be late. I was afraid I wasn't going to make it back for today's show. What do I always tell you about politics? What is it, folks? What is it? What is it? Snapshots and sound bites. Correct? Snapshots and sound bites. Snapshots and sound bites. That's politics. Until you understand it's pictures and sound bites, don't get in the game. White papers are great. I love the academic portion of politics and policy. However, politics are snapshots and sound bites. Here's a soundbite now that shows you the other part of politics you got to get down that the Democrats have not fully digested. Contrasts. If you were going to do a counter-programming event like Turning Point did at the Super Bowl, you damn well better go all in and you better not make a buffoon out of yourself. Whereas Turning Point during the Super Bowl sent a message with millions of people watching online during the most prominent halftime show anywhere in the sports universe. And people tuned into Turning Point because they went all out. If you're going to put an event together, you better not look buffoonish. So the Democrats decided to put on an event to counter-program UFC 250 at the White House. You want to talk about sound bites that can paint a contrast? This is the buffoonery this is, by the way, I swear to you again, I thought this was a joke. I had to double check it. This actually happened. This is not a scam, a scheme, a setup, a bit. This really happened. This was their counter-programming event. Check this out.
No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. Not this time. No one is getting left behind this time. How do we get there? Together or never get there at all.
Even Jasmine walked in for that. She's like, what is that buffoonery I hear in there? It's like, I didn't know you guys did another bit. It's not a bit. That was real. Folks, Motley's in the chat, please. Folks, we have since thrown away the 5 Motley limit. So if you want to populate the chat with 20 or 40 Mutleys, it is now up to you. You are the ultimate arbiter of the amount of burn the chat to the ground. Chris from Rumble, warning, we are going to burn the chat down with Mutleys because we decided as such. We are one of the few podcasts that can pull 60,000 people at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. I love it. I love it. Some of you probably may be watching at work too. Good for you. Sean O'Malley, salute for you right there. Love you guys. Burn it down. Burn the chat down. Contrasts matter, folks. Now, contrast what you just heard with this. Here's Sugar Sean popping up. This. I thought this was real. I thought this music was pre-recorded. And I looked over, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fake.
If you are, just say you are a superstar. Then have no
What are you laughing at? I just bounced on it, buddy. There you go, folks. I looked over, I'm like, wait, this is live? And you had, look at this. You can't even beat these optics. He's got the armor behind him. All right, I told you with the Beast, I've given up on the Beast fight, whatever. Call it the Beast. And then and then Diego Lopez wins his fight. Diego Lopez wins his fight, by the way. And listen, it was an amazing fight. That guy brought so much energy. And he decides after the fight, he didn't even have a shirt on. He's going to run out to the ellipse with another 12,000 people out there. Now compare that with the "we are doing this together, not alone," that goofy, whatever that was. I mean, the imagery is just insane. You have the video of him rolling out to the ellipse. This was freaking like bananas. Check this out. Pat Tip full send MMA on this. This is after the fight. Ladies and gentlemen, snapshots and sound bites, man. I'm just telling you, as your brother in this fight, look at it, we're approaching 61,000 people. They've tried to stop us. They just can't. They tried to stop us, but they can't do it. Justin's like, "Why are you whispering?" I don't know. Folks, until you get that lesson down, if you were a political activist, if you are not don't ever ask let me just sum it up this way. Don't ever ask a question you're not willing to provide an answer to. If you are going to go out and do an event, a counter-programming event to a massive operation like this, and you're saying, is it going to work? Don't do it. Turning Point knew it was going to work. They saw this soft spot in the market. There is no market for like fight fan watchers looking to hear a song like that on fight night. There just isn't. You totally blew it. You forgot the golden rule. Sound bites and snapshots and contrast. Dana was on with Katie Miller on her podcast too. And this is why Dana is very unapologetic about how the UFC operates. And this is why they continue to succeed. Folks, in this modern era where everybody's public and private life is exposed immediately, it is really, really difficult to be an inauthentic, non-genuine politician or business person these days because everybody's just scars are bared for the world now, for better or for worse. It just is what it is. Everybody sees people all the time. You got cameras in your face. You say I couldn't even walk out of the White House. You get what I'm talking about? Paul is a public figure. He doesn't even want to be. Like everybody's on. Dana, though, has been very unapologetic about the UFC business model. I'm telling you, this is why this succeeds. If you're going to sit on the fence, you're going to get a fence post up your ass, and it's going to hurt, okay? You've got to take a side. Here's Dana with Katie Miller about, hey, man, what do you do if like companies don't want to do business with the UFC because you're associated with the White House? The answer is roll it in a ball and check this out.
You've been openly supportive of President Trump for a long time. Has that ever cost UFC any business, either domestically or abroad?
I don't give a shit. I don't know the answer to that question. I've gotten to a point in my life, especially after COVID and all the nutty shit that went on during that time, that I only want to be in business with and talk to people that I'm aligned with.
Were you always red-pilled?
Always what?
Red-pilled, like conservative.
No. I would have considered myself a lot more liberal. I would have considered myself an 80s or 90s Democrat. But I'm more of a common sense guy. I'm not a very political person, but I'm all for common sense.
What was it that changed for you?
The world losing its mind and everything going nuts, and most of the things that you and I have talked about during this podcast.
And Dana's another one who's the exact same person privately as he is publicly. I'm not going to tell you like we go out to coffee together and he's my best friend. He is a friend. He's always been more than nice to me and my family. Dana's an amazing guy. I had him one night. Let me tell you a quick story about Dana. They invited me to a UFC. I was with Chris from Rumble, and it was a great event. My daughter got sick. What was not great. It was not a great night. I had to leave. I really don't. The one thing about the UFC is like if they're gonna, if you're gonna get really like nice tickets there, you don't want to leave early. I was devastated, but it was like 2 fights before the finale, and I really had to go. Instead of Dana being like, "Hey man, why are you leaving?" Dana was like, "How can I help you?" No, I'm serious. He's like, "I've got doctors and friends," and I think I was in Miami at the time or whatever it was. He's that kind of guy. Like, that's what happens when you don't try to fence it all the time. And you say, we're going to run our business the way we want to run our business. And we love America and we're not going to apologize for it. And why should you apologize for America? Folks, have you seen all these videos with FIFA, the World Cup going on? Of all of these Europeans traveling around the United States, people from around the world, not just Europeans, they're traveling around the United States and they've fallen in love with this country. I can't tell you enough how amazing this place is. Did you see the video of the Japanese attendees at the World Cup game cleaning up the stadium by themselves? You're like, what, they worked there? No, they didn't work there. They were just fans. Like, this country, I'm just obsessed with U.S. history. And I've been saying for 10 years on the air. Okay, some of you aren't going to like this, the secular types. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to say I don't care, but it doesn't matter. God picked this place. He did. There's something special about it. God picked this place. He just did. There is no reason without some kind of heavenly intervention. I just don't believe it's luck we should be here. You know, I always talk about how we should never have survived the Revolutionary War. The odds were probably 10,000 to 1, us defeating the British Empire. And we came so close to losing so many times. I mean, they owned New York. 1812, we were getting smoked in the War of 1812. They burned the freaking White House. Then the Battle of New Orleans, that would have been it. If we lost that, it was over. And then we pulled that one off. And then I think about it. 1861, Lincoln just gets into office. The Union breaks up. We don't even know what to do with Fort Sumter. They're like, hey, man, we've got this territory down there. The South Carolina's not really having it. They're saying they want it. What do we do? Well, who shoots first? And then the whole country's divided, killing each other. You had Antietam, Gettysburg, Bull Run. Well, we should never have survived. And not only did we survive this, folks, 250 years of freedom, liberty, and kicking ass. We are the best. We're the best. You can't say that about. Yeah, we can say it. We're the best. We have the most powerful military, the most powerful economy, despite dealing with Barack Obama, despite dealing with Woodrow Wilson and all their bullshit. We have come back again and again and again to be the most prosperous, successful country in the history of sentient beings. It's God's hand touched this country, man. I don't know how you don't see it. How are you not proud of this place? How? And by the way, I say that to everyone. Everyone. We have been through a lot. People were treated over time very poorly. We got through that too. People were treated not just poorly, but horrifically. Slavery, Jim Crow, other groups of migrants who came here were treated poorly. But you know what? The American goodwill won out in the end. I talk about this story all the time. I even got one of the prints of one of his paintings, Horace Pippin. Look up the story for Black America. This is your country too. Look up the story of the Harlem Hellfighters. Yes, many of them were treated terribly, I know, on the way back. But they were heroes. They never lost a trench in World War I, ever. This is your country too. Man, we've been kicking ass for a long time. Man, we've been...
In a fight where you were at some points 6-1 underdog, how good does this feel?
Hey, I'm from America. 250 years ago, we were way bigger than 6-1 dogs. And look at us thriving now. To all the current, former, and future military service members, thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the first responders, the police officers, firefighters, the ambulance, EMTs. You guys have no idea how grateful I am. And for as long as I'm able to, I will use my name to make money and support you guys. First and foremost, thank you.
It's damn right. We were far more than 6-1 underdogs. Folks, I was getting a little choked up there. I'm actually glad the guys ran that. I'm sorry. I don't mean I get emotional about it, but I just love this place so much. It's not some act. It's not a shtick. I do. I just like... It's just so special. I mean, you understand how blessed you are to live here in this country that's been touched by the hand of God. We're floating on a sea of oil. We have two enormous oceans protecting us. We've got just the most incredible people. Have you ever been to the South during an SEC game? Have you ever just stopped in just our mountain ranges, anywhere from out west to down south? Have you ever seen, Tennessee? What Tennessee looks like? The only reason I bring up Tennessee is these foreigners who were here from FIFA for the World Cup are just taking their cameras out and videoing the United States. And it's like, because we see it every day, does the majestic vista we live in called the United States, does it even ring your bell anymore? Because we see it all the time. It rings mine. So many heroic men and women gave up so much. You think back to the Battle of Trenton, Revolutionary War era U.S. soldiers didn't even know what country they were fighting. The country was just, back then, was still an idea. No boots on their feet in the freezing cold winter. Think of these trench war fighters. I tell you, the Battle of Henry Johnson in World War II. Battle of Henry Johnson, one guy with a box of grenades and a knife. My gosh. You live in such a special place. Play that guy. He's this guy, Freddie, he's become a celebrity. He's over here from Germany, I guess, get a German flag, at Freddie LA7, somewhere in Tennessee. This is everywhere. Everywhere. You been out to Western Maryland, near Garrett County, and looked around in the Autumn Glory Festival? Here's Freddie again in some of his tweets, which have gone nuclear. He says the European mind basically can't comprehend any of this stuff that's going on. This is so United States only too. Freddie's in the car, this Freddie guy. Well, I don't know Freddie at all. I never met him, but he's become a social media celebrity. He's in the car, and because his pictures have gone viral, I guess he's just videoing the car trip, and he gets a shout out while videoing the car trip on the radio to Freddie on Freddie's feed. Check this out.
I don't know if he flew in. Where did he fly into? Florida, driving to Houston, I believe, something like that. He stayed in Fairhope, Alabama last night. He's been at Bass Pro Shop today. He's been to, I believe, Buc-ee's, and he's documented it all on Twitter. So if you go to Twitter or X, you look him up at Freddie LA7. So FREDDY LA7, Freddie LA7. But anyways, he's become an Alice fella. He's become a huge fan of Ella Langley, and he shared on his X account last night 2 different occasions that he was listening to WSBM, and Ella Langley was on. So thank you, President Freddie. Hopefully you enjoy some Ella. Glad you discovered Ella, became an Ella fella like all the us. And y'all check him out. He's had some awesome posts up there. And Ella, Morgan Wallen now on WSBM.
Hotter and a nice day.
I don't know why I'm so emotional about this today. Look at me. My eyes are all getting... I just haven't come back from that event. If I can encourage you to do one thing without being overly melodramatic about this, I say this for our younger folks out there. We love you. You, again, axiomatically, you're the future, okay? You're it. We're not going to be around forever. It's your country. Travel overseas. Do yourself a favor. Not just one. Take 3 or 4 trips. I'm not talking about like Cancun. That's great. Do that. Whatever. It's fine. But travel overseas. And don't just go to like the touristy spots. Go travel overseas to, go to places in Africa, Central, South America. Don't just go to Paris and Rome. They're beautiful, but go overseas and see the rest of the world. And then see what Europeans are seeing here with some fresh eyes when you come back. Here was another account, overseas, a foreign account that came to the United States for FIFA that just can't believe the majesty of the flyover. I'm going to tell you something. I've seen 100, 500, I don't know, flyovers. They never get old. The flyover at the UFC was incredible. But I guess they don't do this in the European Union. But here's this account for Iago, like, wow, this is something special. Check this out. Look at this. Now, if you're an SEC football fan or you've been to an NFL game, you see one of these every weekend. But you got to understand, look at a guy's face at the end. He's like, wow, What is this? This is magic to them. It's almost like when the New World, the American Indians for the first time, Native Americans saw ships coming over for the first time. They thought they were like floating magic castles. Like, this is what this is like for a lot of Europeans. And you live here in the land of floating magic castles. You live here every day. Every day. Thank God for it. Thank him. No, actually thank him. Here's one last one on this, and then we'll take a quick break. I got a great interview coming up with Vince Colonnese too, but you ever been to Buc-ee's? Everybody loves some Buc-ee's. If you ain't been to Buc-ee's, you're missing out. I'm not sure. You may have to have your passport revoked if by the time you're 50 or 60, because, travel stuff, you haven't been to a Buc-ee's. Here's a European who sees a Buc-ee's for the first time, and the reaction here is absolutely priceless. Check this out.
Being a grown adult like we are, and being so excited about arriving at a Buc-ee's. If you've never been to Buc-ee's before, you might be mystified as to what it actually is. If you take a gas station and mix it with Disney World, wrap all of that around a gift shop, then that's probably the best way I can describe what Buc-ee's is all about.
Wow, it's all light, look at it.
You know what I love about Buc-ee's? It's an aspirational, inspirational brand. The message. This is what we came to Buc-ee's really for, is this stuff here. The beaver nuggets. I'm going to put these in my suitcase and fly them back to Scotland. They're that good, honestly.
CLT in the chat. Dan, you're making me get teary-eyed. I'm making myself get teary-eyed. And I don't care, liberal folks can make fun of it, media-eyed all you want. Please. It's just a Buc-ee's, obviously. This place is just magic. And you are blessed by God to live in this land we call the United States of America. There is almost no chance, if you roll the dice, that this country should have lasted even 4 or 5 years afterwards. And look where we are now. The economic, military, freedom and liberty, capital of the known universe. There has never been a group of people, ever, who have lived as free, as well, and as powerfully as you do right now. Libs would complain of SpaceX IPO. I'll bring this up with Vince in a little bit, but liberal. If that happened in China, the same liberals who hate this place would have been like, oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing ever. I'll get to this more tomorrow, but liberals are whining about this too. Something like 4,000 new millionaires were created because a company went public. And Elon got risked. Yeah, so did a lot of other people, including like people who took jobs for not great salaries, but took options in the company. If that would happen in China, you'd be celebrating the wonders of the communist system. It happens here, everybody shits all over it. Thank God I am a U.S. citizen with a U.S. passport, the land of the magic castles. All right, quick break and we'll get to Vince. I saw a couple of people in the chat saying how much they love Vince. We love Vince too. He's been a tremendous asset to this company and he's been around conservative media for a long time. Hey, buy gold and put some silver in your pocket. I know what you're thinking. Everything's expensive right now. How am I going to buy gold? Well, pull your head out of the sand. One of the things you can control right now that doesn't cost you anything out of pocket is diversifying your retirement savings. Birch Gold Group, BIRCH, company I buy my gold from, will help you convert an old 401k from a previous employer or an IRA into a physical IRA in gold. You now have something that's a hedge against inflation. Listen to this. Right now, Birch Gold is going to give you a special America 250 1-ounce silver round for every $10,000 you purchase by July 2nd. Think about this. 10 years ago, an ounce of gold was about $1,200. Today, it's around $4,500. Where will it be 10 years from now? Text Dan to 989898 to take advantage of free America 250 silver with qualifying purchases before July 2nd. Again, text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 today. Message and data rates may apply. Welcoming to the show for our bi-weekly appearance. Well, weekly. I do your radio show, then you do my podcast. He's always my favorite hits. Our good friend Vince Colonnese, the king of morning podcasting, rumble.com/Vince every day at 8 a.m. Join him in his live chat. Vince, thanks for joining me today again. Appreciate it.
Always love doing it. Thanks, Dan.
So it's been a busy week. I was off yesterday. I said I had an event to go to. Obviously, it was the UFC event. I was there.
It was like the worst kept secret. It was the worst kept secret. You kept saying, like, I've got an event. I'm like, he's obviously going to the fight. But I was like, whatever. I didn't even speculate on the air. I was like, Dan wants to keep it a secret. I'll keep it a secret.
You're my guy. Like, you and I have been friends a long time. I just feel like, I don't know. I always feel like you don't want to do this, hey, look at me. Like high school Harry, like, in high school, I threw a 400-yard touchdown over that mountain like Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't really want to talk about it because I just felt like, I don't know. That's why I just kind of kept it quiet, but I couldn't make it back.
It's like, you're at a point in life where you've got access to a lot of cool stuff and you're looking back on the life that you had before this and you're like stunned by the fact that you can do all of it now. And now you feel a little bit, like you feel a little ashamed or something. I don't know if that's the right word, but you just don't want to brag about it.
It is the right word. I feel like I want to take the whole Vince and Bongino army with me. And I feel like really like ashamed I can't. I wish I could. But growing up a middle-class cat, me and my wife too, we walked in the White House on the South Grounds. And and believe me, I've been there, but we worked there 5 years. It's not the first time I've seen the South Grounds. However, we walked in and we were just thinking that exact thing. Like, never forget that feeling like, my gosh, what the hell am I doing here? Just some kid from Queens. I think that's why I just wanted everyone to experience. I kind of gave them some insight. But it was an amazing event. Unfortunately, one of the things I kind of took away some of the thunder from it was, Hokit saying that Michelle Obama's a man. If you know Hokit, I've been to quite a few fights with Hokit. He always does this little like stand-up shock jock bit at the end. It's nothing new. But Vince, I got to tell you, man, if you're expecting people like conservatives to get their panties in a bunch over this thing, a hard freaking pass by me. Bill Clinton, like with the whole sexual episode in the White House, Biden with the transgender awareness thing with the boobie flashing thing. And I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not upset. I don't really care that much.
I don't even know why the left is upset about this. They were telling me like last week that gender is a social construct. Why is it a bad thing if a woman wants to be a man? Like now it's an insult that a woman can be a man? I don't really even understand what rules they're playing by. I thought it was just amusing. Like, who cares? I mean, it's like he's not the president of the United States. He's a guy, he's a fighter. He got the microphone, he used it to tell an insult joke. Okay, everyone, get over yourselves. I thought the event was incredible. I just think what a cool treat that you did get a chance to see it up close and personal. But for even those of us who were watching it on a screen, I felt like my eyes welling up with tears just seeing the flyover at the end of a great Zach Brown national anthem. Zach Brown, the left was trying to hector him out of even doing it. They're like, don't do this. He's like, I'm doing it because I love my country. I'm doing it for the troops. And he did a great job. And it makes me like Zach Brown even more than I did before, which I already liked the guy. So I think it was a great event.
And Vince, I'm going to tell you something. Zach, who I met at other UFC events, ironically, folks, listen, I'm not blowing wind up your caboose. I got no time for it. You will never meet a nicer, more down-to-earth guy. You like his music, don't like? I do. Whether you don't or do like his music, it's not my, whatever, do your thing. He walked around that event, and him and Triple H, Paul from the WWE, him and Triple H must have taken, I'm not kidding, 100+ pictures with our military folks. The only reason they stopped was because the event security folks, they had event security in addition to Secret Service that were there specifically under the claw.
Yeah.
The event security folks said, guys, you got to sit down. Like eventually, the cameras aren't going to be able to see. You got to sit down. They would have taken pictures all day. You're never going to meet two more down-to-earth guys than Zach Brown and Triple H. They could not have been more approachable.
Can I ask one more thing just on the people who were there? I saw that there were some other comedians there too. Shane Gillis was there and Nate Bargatze was there. I didn't know that Nate was there. Nate, as right now, there's a reason he's the most successful comedian in America right now. It's because he's clean. There's definitely a market for that. And he's super funny. We went and saw him recently, my wife and I and my kid. We loved it. It was a great show. But the left is so furious that Nate Bargatze was there. The Daily Beast has an entire piece that he was caught at the event. Like it was like a big... Like somehow he was committing a crime. These people are crazy. They think they still have power to cancel Nate Bargatze because he attended a UFC fight at the White House. It's crazy.
It's so fake, Vince. It's so faux outrage. It's so artificial. I mean, when some liberal shows up at whatever, like a conservative crowd event, like a country concert, you don't hear all this bullshit. It's so fake. And I'm going to tell you something. They were probably stunned. That other guy was there too, the Kill Tony guy. I forget his last name.
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Tony Hinchcliffe. And he was there too, and they got mobbed by people asking him for photos. I remember Shane, because I think he had a white hat on. He was walking, so he was easy to spot. You could see him. But, again, it's just so artificial and fake, because some of them may have went there like Tony or something that expected, some kind of like, yeah, it's a MAGA crowd or whatever. Everybody was like, hey, Tony, whatever. It was just there was a really cool vibe. And they kept the crowd kind of limited because the South Grounds, they would have liked more seats, but they couldn't do it just because of the way the South Grounds was set up and the way the claw worked out. But all the doomers and gloomers too, like, oh my gosh, man, it's going to be 1,000 degrees, the mosquito apocalypse, they're all going to get dengue fever. It was so cool that night, the weather, that I had to take off my jacket and give it to Paula. Like, she was actually cold, but she gets cold anywhere. But still, it was not hot at all.
It was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, I had a handkerchief. I never used it one time. But a couple other things I wanted to get to. A more serious note, kind of switching gears here. So big FBI terror interdiction, a breakup of a plot at the UFC. Drones, just great work by the Bureau guys. But one of the things that's really disturbing about the early reports you and I saw this morning, broke into media, was the class warfare component, collective guilt component. They want to target supposedly people who are taking money from AIPAC, target people who are, quote, millionaires and billionaires. Vince, the political rhetoric, I know we've said it before, but, this is not going to be the last time we see this stuff.
This is definitely something you and I have talked about before, and unfortunately we have to keep talking about. This goes back, I always think about when Teddy Roosevelt was shot in the early 1900s by a would-be assassin. Bullet hits, I think, his spectacles and his speech that are inside of his pocket. He ends up giving that speech with a bullet hole in his chest. And he says during the speech that the reason, he doesn't know anything about the attacker other than this. The reason the attack took place is because weak and vicious-minded people hear the words of his lying political opponents, and then they act on it. And I think that's oftentimes what we see in these attacks. These are weak and vicious-minded people who either take up arms or attempt to take up arms because they're motivated by lies. And this, unfortunately, is happening very frequently at the highest levels, especially among these Democrats. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Chuck Schumer standing on the steps of the Supreme Court telling people that we have to go after Supreme Court justices, and then we get assassination attempts on them, and Hakeem Jeffries and AOC, all this class warfare rhetoric. It has real-life consequences. There are weak and vicious-minded people. The left has a huge assassination culture that will attempt to take up arms and stage an insurrection, which is why the power of your words is so important. That's a biblical matter. In the beginning, there was the word. Words matter, and telling the truth really matters. And if you lie, there's going to be someone who believes you. And if they believe those lies and act on them, man, that can lead to real chaos.
Vince, one particularly disturbing component of this is there doesn't seem to be any organized. I'm sure that, you got your outliers, your Fettermans, your Gottheimer and others. But there really doesn't seem to be any organized left-wing movement to clean up their party out of this collective guilt nonsense. They did it. The Jews, the blacks, the Hispanics, whatever. Collective guilt, meaning it doesn't matter. The fact that your identity is the melanin in your skin or your faith, it's not you, the individual, which is the exact opposite of what the United States' free republic stands for. But I don't really see an organized movement on the left to clean this up. You see it on the right. There's always going to be this fight on the right where sometimes you get some more radical elements that creep up and do things that are not conducive to civil liberties. And we squash that. We always do. We fight against it vigorously. But I just don't see it on the left. And that's why I'm obsessed with history. I was thinking back, mentioned earlier in the show, 1861, Lincoln's first year in office. He comes in office, the states secede from the Union. You got Fort Sumter, they can't know how to resupply. He's going through this whole thing. And he's like, my gosh, man, I just got in office. I feel if we don't get a hold of this, or if they don't get a hold of this on the left, that this could get really, really ugly. And I'm not talking about like in the distant future. I'm talking in like the very close now.
Yeah, this is why I think we need the Save America Act. I won't go through every detail. I've said it before on your program, but I just think that if we have election integrity, we improve the quality of both parties immediately. If the voters are actually listened to and their lives are the thing that you get power through, in other words, like you're rewarded for actually for delivering to the voters, then it'll instantly improve both political parties. I'm confident of it. Obviously, priority one is a return to God. I mean, we need a return to faith more than anything. But insofar as we have any human capacity to help make this a better system, I think we need the Save America Act.
Yeah, and you know, you're seeing it now. You follow social media; it's part of our job as well as I do. You see the left in the United States clamoring for a larger welfare state, kind of like the European model, the Scandinavian model, a soft socialism type model in some cases. Yet you see the Europeans coming over here, many of them filming around the United States at a Buc-ee's or whatever.
Yes.
And they're like, my gosh, this America is just such an amazing place. And I was reading a piece in the Wall Street Journal about the SpaceX IPO where, you know, if this happened in China, the leftists would be saying, oh my gosh, look at how great the socialist model is, the biggest companies in the world in China. Happens in the United States. All they're bitching about is Elon getting rich, when in fact, so many people now have access to this public stock. So many millionaires who worked there early and took a shot on the company and took stock options instead of a big salary now got rich here in the great United States. And the left's bitching about it. If it happened in China, they'd love it.
I got my producer, Josh. You know Josh. He's right there with you in Florida. He's getting all cocky now because he invested a little bit in SpaceX, and now he's like Mr. Moneybags. He's like telling me what to do every day. He's like, go get your own coffee. He's constantly telling me. I'm like, what the hell's going on around here? He's like, I'm rich now. I got SpaceX money. Yeah, no, actually, you know, it's funny. It's funny, which obviously would happen anyway because we're like 1,000 states away. But you know, when it comes to this, no, a lot of people are being enriched by the success of this. A lot of people, you can get isn't it amazing that you can get a piece of the action? I didn't invent the rocket. I didn't invent the chopsticks that catch it. But I can get a piece of the action because I live in America, and this is open to anybody who thinks that, hey, I believe in this and I want to support it. And also, you know, to your point, even more directly, SpaceX, a lot of people to make that happen. It's not just Elon Musk. Elon Musk isn't hand building the rockets, although my guess is he has more know-how than most people. No, he's got a team he's working with, and they've been working with him for a long time. And a lot of these guys, they own a piece of the action. They have for a while. They said this week that as a result of the SpaceX IPO, 4,000 new millionaires have just been minted at SpaceX. Right. 4,000. Some of them are like welders who've been working there for about a decade. They own a piece of the action. They're now millionaires because of the project they've been working on. This is great. To me, that sounds like the best of America.
Yeah, and what I don't understand is it's kind of like, and I hope to get this with the Iran deal and the Iran ongoing negotiations. I can't negotiate or debate against a position that's constantly changing. You know, the reason, you know, we have a standard measure of measurement, whether we use, you know, inches, is because the inch is consistent. I can't say, hey, give me shoes that are 10.5 inches if the inch changes every 5 minutes. Is it 5.5 now, 10.5? And with the left, the Iran deal, they're pissed at Trump when he negotiates. They're pissed at Trump when he attacks. It's, you know, I don't know what it is, but I see this with the IPO, SpaceX IPO. The left is constantly barking about private equity. Oh, this small group of people are taking advantage of these massive technology developments and no one else has access to it. But you just said it accurately. It was a public offering, meaning anyone can go and buy a stock or 10 stock or 20 or 100. If you're wealthier, maybe more. Anyone can buy in. They don't have that system around the world. It's a small oligarchy of people who enrich themselves, and that's it. I mean, you think this is happening in the Soviet Union where they have this liquid stock market like we do? So I'm just asking the left, like, what's your beef? Do you want more private equity and people to invest their own money and take the risk? Or do you want public offerings where you're right, visionaries take the risk, but the public in turn can benefit from it? I can't debate you if you can't pick a position.
Look, we've got the best system that's ever been devised for human flourishing. It's clear. Are there weaknesses and failures? Yeah, occasionally, and especially when it comes to proximity to government. Companies that really get in bed with the government often creates crony relationships that come at the expense of the free market. I don't want a rigged market. I just want a free market. That's all I'm looking for. And, you've heard Bernie through the years say stuff about the big tech companies. And sometimes I'm critical of the big tech companies. I know you have been too. Like when they censor American citizens and their ability to communicate, especially at the behest of the government, that's a huge problem. And so is it legitimate to be skeptical of large concentrations of power? Yes. But the solution is not to create a greater concentration of power in an institution that has the United States military. You know what I mean? Like Bernie Sanders' solution to these big power centers is to concentrate all power into the most corrupt vehicle possible. It's insanity. It doesn't, that path leads to destruction. And of course, that ideology has a body count that numbers in the hundreds of millions over just the last century. So let's not do that anymore.
That is such a fantastic point. I have been talking about that forever. What is your beef as a collectivist on the left? I mean, is it against organized power that can be corrupted? Because yes, you're going to see that in corporate America. There's always corruption in any group of people full of fallible human beings. But you just brought up a great point. Like life is full of trade-offs. There's no perfect answer. There's no utopia. I'm sorry if someone told you that and read you some Aesop's fables growing up, but this is the real world dealing with fallible men and guardrails. That's what it's about, how to get guardrails on it. You want to trade that concentrated power from companies, whether it's healthcare, drug companies, tech, or elsewhere, where you can actually get away from them in some respects. It's not going to be easy. I'm not telling you like you can just cancel your health insurance tomorrow, but you do have an option. It may not be a great one, but it's an option. You want to trade that for a government system where you can't get away, and they have a monopoly on the use of force if you speak out, and the ability, by the way, to take your money through the IRS. You know how insane of an approach that is to life? Like, that's crazy.
So, but this is why the left has to train people into believing that they're incapable of personal success. Because the whole system is predicated on humans being given everything by the government. And that's why the left is fundamentally a destructive force. It's not a creative force. It doesn't believe in human potential. It doesn't believe in creativity. It doesn't believe in your personal capacity to succeed. It believes that money comes out of nothing and that we can just give it to people. And that's what we should do because people are not good. People are not capable. I just don't believe that. I think humans are full of potential. Most of us never reach it, and we should be doing everything we can to cultivate a system that helps people reach that potential so that they can take care of themselves and their family.
Now, that's a great point. We're talking to Vince Colanese. He is the king of morning podcasting, rumble.com/Vince. Join his live chat at 8 a.m. Vince, exit question. The Iran deal, I mentioned before, it's just really difficult to negotiate against some of these people or debate some of these people on the other side because their position keeps changing. President Trump negotiates. I can't believe he's chickening out. President Trump attacks. He's a warmonger. And those are two completely opposite positions. Pick one, stake out a side. But another thing that's come up too is he's a Netanyahu Israel puppet. And then he does something Netanyahu doesn't like, which Netanyahu clearly doesn't like this, obviously leading the Israeli government right now. And you hear nothing from the same people like, okay, well, maybe we were wrong. Maybe he's not a puppet and makes his own decisions. It's just, again, just another example of the anti-Trump TDS. It's very real, where the emotions have just kind of put a cloud over reason and people can't just think this stuff through.
It's just so crazy to me. So much of this is crazy to me. People have taken hardline positions on both sides of this. One of them is that, as you point out, that Trump is a puppet of Netanyahu in Israel. That's, I think, all of the evidence has suggested against that. I mean, President Trump has to keep grabbing him by the metaphorical shirt collars and telling him to settle down, son. I'm navigating towards a deal that's going to be good for you and good for the world. Okay? On the other side, you've got people who say that Trump is being played like a fiddle by Iran right now. So which one is it? Is he a puppet or is he a fiddle? I don't think he's either. I think he's a guy who has figured out the levers of power. He spent a lifetime learning how to use them. And now as president of the United States for yet another time, he is navigating this in a way that no other politician has ever been capable of doing. This is no Obama deal. Obama was a weak little pushover who gave Iran everything and let them continue to pursue a nuclear weapon. The Iran deal allowed enrichment. This deal does not. This deal will not. Trump killed off everybody at the top of the government. Obama did nothing like that. Trump killed the entire ballistic missile production capacity of Iran. They were producing over 100 a month before. Now they're producing between 0 and 5. That's nothing. Even if we pulled up stakes today and we had no deal whatsoever, Iran is set back by decades in every meaningful capacity: military, economic, nuclear, all of them. And yet here he is signing a deal. And the fact that you have people crapping on him for pursuing this, when half the people were asking him to pursue it in the first place, and the other half want him to, like, I don't know, just get out of there. He's achieving everything. So why don't you sit back, take a breath? I tell people, keep cool, my babies. Let the guy work. He's got a memorandum of understanding that's signed already. They did it electronically. They're going to do the ceremony this week on Friday. And if your question is, who do I believe? Do I believe Trump or do I believe the Iranians? You need to, like, take your face and smash it into a bowl of water, because that's insane. Like, that's insane that you're even going through that quandary right now. I'm not sure to believe. I don't know what you think of Lindsey Graham, Dan, but I saw him tweet about this. She's like, well, Trump's saying one thing and the Iranians are saying another thing. What are you talking about? You're weighing the Iranian side of this equation as equal to Trump's words? This is insanity to me. Everyone settle the hell down. Let the man work. He's succeeded before. I think he's going to do it again.
Yeah, and it's not that there's ever going to be a perfect solution, and he always has military options on the table. There's an amazing piece in the Journal this weekend about how Trump is just a transactional guy, and the world's not ready for it. He's not trying to democratize the world anymore. We've given up on that utopian idea because it's not real. It's just not going to happen. There are some governments and systems of government like the Iranians who are just, the Iranian people are ready for it, but the government is just not going to fold like that. We're not going to get some, council of Mount Olympus like people who are going to merge in Iran tomorrow. And they quote, they're talking about how the old Athenians said the strong will do what they can and the weak will tolerate what they must. And the Iranians are just weak right now and acting like they're in some kind of great bargaining position after their military's been just annihilated, their leadership wiped out. Is just silly. I think you're right. Give the man a little bit of leeway here. He's made some bold decisions. Vince, thanks so much for joining us. I'll see you on your radio show next week. You had a huge audience this morning. His show is available on Rumble, the live stream, 8 a.m. You can watch it on demand anytime, rumble.com/Vince. Go give him a follow today. You're going to love his show on radio in the 12 to 3 spot every single day all around the country. Thanks, Vince. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dan.
You got it. I always love my interviews with Vince, folks. We trade shows each week. I do his radio show. He does my podcast. Really is an honor to have him on our team here. He's been such a tremendous asset, and I'm glad to see his career just exploding. Check him out every morning at 8. You can also check out Haley at noon. We love Haley, rumble.com/Haley, Haley Carania, Hayley. Download the free Rumble app if you would. I don't ask for a lot of favors, but I'd really appreciate it. You see the shirt too? Paula got a whole bunch of colors. If you're interested in the shirt, 250 years of freedom, liberty, and kicking ass. Store.bongino.com. Check us out on Rumble, rumble.com/Bongino. Give us a follow there. They even did this little handy dandy graphic for you right there. Look at that. Click that follow button. Thank you so much for doing that, guys. That's awesome. I will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Carania,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.